Seriously.
It's
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank all of you for joining us tonight. I'm ready to call to order the Highland Park City Council in-person and virtual workshop scheduled for today, July 15th at 6 p.m. I'll allow Madam Clerk to get herself situated, and I would ask if you would be kind enough to call the roll for us tonight.
Councilman Robinson. Present. Councilmember Manica. Here. Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Shafi. And Council President Thomas.
Here. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's workshop is a continuation on our support for community and economic development. We wanted to make sure that they had an opportunity to bring interested parties and supporters forward to assist the city of Highland Park in a number of ways. And today's meeting is focused on the proposal to provide planning services for the city of Highland Park. We're going to have a discussion on that, and also HPHC redevelopment draft pilot ordinance discussion will continue. So at this point, I will turn the floor over to CD Director Clyburn to take us through the workshop. Director Clyburn, the floor is yours.
Good evening, residents, council. Thank you for this opportunity. So we get right into it. Last year, well, let me stop. So for many years, Ms. Square has been talking about the city needing planning services, planning assistance, planning help to help move us through development. Years ago, we did have a planning firm that we worked with who did review. When Planning Commission received information, they were the body that reviewed them professionally, gave recommendations. Planning Commission would then set public hearings and make recommendations to the council on direction. So we're going to fast forward to last year. The city of Highland Park put in for a grant that we can use towards these planning services. We were not awarded, but during that time, the city did put out an RFP, and a few people did submit, and the city had chosen their preference, but it was based upon receiving the award. But again, we were unsuccessful. So through the work of Ms. Square and a little bit of myself, we did make contact with the the state treasurer, and they are willing to help us move this initiative forward. So we have been working with McKenna on a scope of work that we want to move forward, and it's in your packet. So that is the discussion for today.
Can I open up some questions, Director Clyburn? Will they station a person in the building, or will they be working remotely and showing up as needed?
So from the from the proposed plan, they will have somebody helping us on site.
Okay.
And then it would be services when we need them for the planning services when it comes to review site plans.
Okay. And I guess my only other question would be, do they intend, I saw there's a notation here for each of the respective committees, planning, zoning. Do they have plans to, let's say, caucus or workshop with those individual committees, working with planning commission? Okay, those are my questions. I'd like to open up the floor to any other member on council who had questions that they wanted to have addressed. Hey, Ms. Square. I'm good. How are you?
I'm back. I've been absent for a month because I had shingles. I didn't get the vaccine. And you all recall, I was kind of, burnt out anyway. So you get it when you're burnt out. And I had it all on, I feel like Richard Pryor. Remember when Richard Pryor had the heart attack and he described how it was? It's all on this, so it's horrible. But I'm back for the most part. And but while I was off, I did have an opportunity to work on Highland Park's business. Now I didn't do a lot, but I did, this planning firm has been something that we've been trying to get off the ground for a while. And in fact, Councilman Ashafi called me the other day and he said, please, Ms. Square, get back up here. So I told him I was gonna, he's the only council person that I think Tamiko Manica called, but long story short, the state is willing only to provide funding for a year. And they're only gonna provide the funding if council agrees. So if council doesn't agree to this proposal, they're not going to provide the funding at all. We had initially asked them to provide funding for 3 years. We thought that it would be a good idea to bring McKenna in to provide capacity to the department. That was too expensive. That was $250,000 a year, which they were unwilling to fund. Since that proposal, they have ratcheted it down and narrowed the scope of the proposal lower. And so the state is trying to get some money from the state land bank. If you recall, part of our terms with the Great Lakes Water Authority was to settle the state land bank case. And so now they're working with the state because they're trying to put together 300,000, but so far there's only 150,000, I think, coming from Treasury if council wants to proceed. If council doesn't want to proceed, we're on our own. And so they have, I think they're here tonight, and they have skinnied down their original proposal to something to fit within the funding that we, are potentially going to receive. So that's what they're doing here tonight. Now, if you recall, there were 2 proposals, one from a company called Parliament and one from McKenna. And at that time, Ty was here. Everybody remembers Ty Hinton. And he had gone through and selected McKenna because he thought that they had more experience in cities because they are helping various cities around, more capacity. He thought that they could perhaps bring some overspill from some of the other communities, developers in other communities, could maybe bring them over to Highland Park to get interested in doing some initiatives in Highland Park. So that's why we narrowed it down to McKenna, and I believe Parliament was a little bit more expensive. So that's the background of it. So this would be a year. Now, what the state has said is that if after a year it goes well, they'll reconsider funding for another year. So they want to do it on a year-to-year basis. So at this point, if McKenna's here, they can come in and talk about what they plan on doing.
We like that. Please come join us at the podium if you are. Mind introducing yourself and welcome.
Sure. Good evening. Thank you very much, council members. My name's John Jackson. I'm the president of McKenna And we're happy to have this opportunity possibly to work with the city of Highland Park. We see a ton of opportunities here, and we're more than happy to adjust our proposal to meet the needs that are able to be funded by the Treasury or any other agencies. And we definitely anticipate that by the end of the first year, we're going to be successful and get some traction on pursuing a lot of the opportunities here, so that the Treasury won't be able to say no to the next year and the year after that and the next year after that. So we're really excited to be here. I think the administration can talk to the persistence that our project manager, Donovan Smith, has exhibited in making sure that he's been in touch with the community, seeing what the status was of the funds that were available for covering the cost of this extra capacity. So again, we're very excited to be here and to provide whatever support we can. To the point that was brought up earlier, we've been around for over 40 years, and we're currently working in a number of other communities that are facing similar opportunities that Highland Park is. We work in East Point, we work in Ecorse, Harper Woods. We're used to working with the state. We're used to working with land banks. We're used to working with a wide range of programs and incentives to encourage redevelopment. Our proposal is focused right now based on the funds that are available on a performance-based approach, which means we get a portion of the revenue that you guys get for the services that we provide. You're familiar with this method based on your building department services. Okay, so it's kind of a similar thing to that approach. We did include in our proposal suggested fee schedule adjustments on the city's behalf, and we did that for two reasons. One is because your zoning review fees, from what we can gather based on your website and some other information, haven't been adjusted since 2005. And it's 2024. So you think there's room for increasing your review fees. And also, it hasn't been adjusted since you adopted your new zoning ordinance. So again, there's opportunities to align your fee schedule to make sure you're collecting the revenue to cover the services that you guys are providing. But most importantly, we want to be there and help the development department get some of these exciting projects through the process, work with the planning commission, work with the zoning board of appeals and the city council to make sure that these projects are thoroughly reviewed and will benefit the residents of Highland Park. So be happy to answer any other questions.
The floor is open if there are members of council who have questions for our guests here today.
I have a question. You mentioned that Donovan Smith was in touch with the community. Can you explain that?
Yep, they can elaborate on just how in touch he's been, but we did have one prior meeting with the administration.
So he has sat in on some meetings, and me and him have had numerous discussions about the needs of Highland Park and what it looks like for that added capacity. So,
You can't be in touch with the community.
that could be administration, but he did attend a couple meetings and talk to some of the people that was there. It wasn't a formal type engagement.
Can you give us clear cut definition as to what exactly are you planning to do?
Yep. So we've broken down our proposal into basically three different focus areas. Probably the most immediate need is the development review process. And that's basically where an applicant and developer will come in and submit an application, and we will participate in the review process. We'll review it, make sure it meets the zoning ordinance requirements, make sure it's consistent with your master plan, make sure it's consistent with other city policies, including economic development policies and things of that nature, and then make a recommendation. So hopefully that sort of helps move the project through the process to the point where you have something you can act on. So that's the primary service.
Just to add to that, you know how we've been talking about our ordinances not being up to date and match up. That'll be one of the main tasks coming in, even before they start working with the developers, is taking a look at our stuff versus what's going on the state level, because our ordinances haven't been updated. Our zoning ordinance, just to speak of. And when we did our master plan in 21, when we adopted it, we never did the zoning to match the master plan. So that needs to happen as well. Yeah, it's online, but I'll send it in it, so you know, we'll call some. Yeah.
Yeah, you can send it in an email.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. One of the things that council needs, and I spoke briefly with Robinson about a committee needing to be formed for the ordinances, because the ordinances are under the council jurisdiction. So council doesn't like ordinances to be written and given to them without their participation.
Yeah.
So I had suggested that some sort of committee be formed. Now, I understand that the state wants to be involved in a bigger committee because it's trying to get the land banks on board, MISHA, the NEDC, and the city, so that we have a round table, so to speak, because we have a lot of different things going on in the community. And, you know, we're not necessarily on the same page. But council really has to be involved in the writing of the ordinances. That is their jurisdiction, and that is something that they have voiced their concerns about in the past 18 months. And, you know, if we move forward, there's got to be some kind of function set up where when these ordinances are being developed, they're at the table developing them because they're the council and they're supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So that way they're more involved in the process and understanding the intake process for development.
I'm good. Thank you.
Further questions?
On the first page, special projects. That cost is cost. That's separate. That's separate. Cost with the state.
It's all of the costs that are in there is what costs we're talking about being covered. So it's not additional, that is included. So I think it's like 40 and 65, something like that, but those costs are included in the total.
So that's what we have.
No, this is what we're talking about with the treasurer assisting the city, with them covered.
Okay.
Yes. So it wouldn't be any additional cost to the city of Highland Park.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, so say in our actual budget. This is not our.
No.
This is the state. We
correct.
still have our.
But we don't,
I don't even.
okay.
But you
So-
get what I'm.
right, yeah.
But that's a good point, because, you know, last month you all went through the understanding of the budget amendment process. So say we get $150,000, say that becomes budget amendment. Because that is revenue that we will receive, that we incorporate into our budget after the whole official budgetary process has happened. And so we now have a dollar amount within the budget that's officially approved and amended that we can now spend for McKenna. That's right. And I think he mentioned one of the services, but you mentioned that there were 3 other proposed services. So back to the question of what are you gonna be doing?
Yeah, so the other bucket of projects are the special projects that you just asked about. So we proposed, a couple of things, including ordinance updates and that sort of thing, the cost of which would be covered by the state, as Carlton mentioned. And then the other one was hourly services. In the event that something comes up during our services, we can respond to it and address it. And then again, that cost presumably gets passed on to the state to cover those costs. So those are the 3 buckets of projects.
Is there currently a amount maybe I missed it? Is there currently already a set budget?
Yes. So look at page 7.
Page 7?
I got 3 broke down and then on page 13 are the fees.
So the budget is going to be defined by what the state is willing to offer. So that's going to sort of define what special projects we can make progress on. And we're not going to spend any more money than the state makes available. So that sort of limits the special projects that we can work on. But we have priorities like the zoning ordinance. That's what our first priority is going to be. And then the other service I mentioned was the development reviews. That is a cost that gets paid by the developers that come in and ask for site plan approval. They ask for special use approval. Our fees are paid by the developers in those cases. So it's not going to be an out-of-pocket expense to the city.
I'm hoping I that none of the fees. So,
Yep.
considering the fact that when you started out, the state is going to pay fees.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
but I just want to know what their actual set number, I mean, they say, hey, we're only giving, $140,000. Yeah, that's true. The state, the original proposal was $238,000. We asked the state to fund $238,000 a year for 3 years. They said, no, we're not. They came back and said, maybe we'll come up with $150. But at that point, the request was made, and it's skinny down the proposal. For the 238, they were going to put 2 people in here to staff the department. That said, it would have included some of the intake, most of the intake, and I think there is also a proposal in here for building services.
That's right.
So say we wanted to terminate the contract with say, McKenna could provide building services. So that's something that, we need to think about as well. I mean, say buildings on month to month. Now, after a contract expired 2 years ago, they've been in the city for some time. Is this the time to, try something different? Now, remember, before Safe Build, we had Save Michigan Law for building services. And so they've been here a while. I don't know if we want to take to do some kind of formal review, maybe meet with McKenna, or do we just, go with McKenna? But we only have funding for a year. So the state has said, we got $150,000. We're going to try to get some money from the state land. We're talking to them now. So we don't know whether we're going to get $150,000 or $300,000. We don't know exactly how much we're going to get. But whatever the amount is, that's all we have. And so they'll have to skinny down their activities for us to fit the amount of funding. Because we can't spend more than the fund. So that's what I was trying to get here. Is this 140? But when you add up the 3 things, we're already at 140 just in special projects.
That's right.
Every day or just regular stuff.
That's right. The state hasn't provided the funding for the day-to-day, on-site type of services. We did leave $10,000 off the $150,000 estimated budget to provide some of that. So we could provide some technical assistance on an as-needed basis over the course of the year, up to $10,000 worth. But the other costs, like the development reviews, again, the state's not paying for that. The city's not paying for that. It's coming directly from developers. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
For the developer, when they pay the fee,
Yeah.
the application fee, yes.
Yep.
Oh, I've never before we presented earlier. Last year.
Good.
So Councilwoman, that's a good point, because what you're saying is, how does the council get involved? How does the council get involved with what the special projects are? Is that some preliminary meeting? So say they get on board, at what point do we sit down? And talk with the strategic? We know that there's probably some other priorities than just developers not coming. Maybe there's some things that the city would like to see done. You know, we've got some big old buildings around. Maybe this is where that committee with the state and Michigan. And that's why it's important to have a council representative on that committee. And I know that Councilwoman Robinson said she'd like to give out. I don't know if she still wants to, but the fact is that there are other priorities that are going to be more than developers not. And so that's what what you want to know is, how do we get past this developers not going? We have developers not going to do that. But there's other things that could be special projects. And so I think if McKenna ends up getting fired, I think that, that we probably need to do some strategic planning so that we can kind of get on the same page and talk about all of the various things that are out there. If we look at it in a strategic planning point of view, we're talking about more than just development. The town park needs everything.
Maybe as our council, part of that is two of us in different areas. Maybe two of us in economic, two of us in the whatever the case is, all of it.
We can't do all because then you're.
Okay, well, two of us, and that means we would have a committee. That would be our small committee.
I don't know, but I do know that if they get on board, that's the first step. The planning and how this is all gonna play out, how everybody's gonna get what I put in, voice their concerns and their opinions and see what they want to see. Because that's the way we're gonna move together. We're not gonna move forward if you can't put your thoughts and ideas into how you want to see the thing play out. But I think that if they come in here, then I'm sure that the administration will have to agree that it's only going to move forward if you got cooperation. Because the state says they're not funding it after this fiscal year. Maybe you start from there.
What is a big project in one of the other cities?
Yep. So we've done master plans for all those communities. We've done zoning ordinances for all those communities that I mentioned earlier, East Point, Harper Woods, and many, many others. We also helped Harper Woods recently navigate the redevelopment of Eastland Mall into a distribution facility. Obviously, Eastland Mall is a major community landmark. So we help them navigate that, work with the developers, figure out how to make that project, bring that to a reality. Also in Harper Woods, we've helped them repurpose, do some adaptive reuse on some of the school buildings in the community, turn them into residential facilities in one case. So creative approaches to putting properties back into productive use in the community. So those are a couple things that we've done. Corridor plans, we did actually a joint corridor plan on Kelly Road between Harper Woods and East Point, looking at how we can activate that corridor, encourage redevelopment, figure out how to remove barriers so that people can come in and see the opportunities.
Can you give me an example, not an example, but in the other cities, what are some sufficient fees for development? I notice it says that we're currently not collecting sufficient fees to cover the cost.
Yep, so
Professional fees.
actually, in this on page 5 of 6 here, we have a list of your existing fees from 2005. And for instance, for a ZBA case, a request for zoning code interpretation, you're currently collecting $150. That's not enough to cover your costs, even for a public hearing. That's, I mean, barely going to cover the cost of posting a public hearing notice. So we suggest that you increase your fee to $750. Our fee would be $500. So you would get the $750, which is comparable to what other communities are charging. And you would get an administrative portion of that for administrative fees. And we would get the $500. That's why I threw the term performance-based around earlier, like, you know, what does that mean, right? It means that basically out of a fee that you charge, we get a portion of that and you get the remainder of it to cover your overhead costs and things like that. And of course, the applicant gets the service, so.
So we would get an extra $100.
You would get $250.
Well, we already get $150, so we get an extra.
Yep,
And I'm assuming that you will put in the current case, whenever appeal comes to zoning, the CED department has to do all of the work. In this case, you will be doing the work for us.
Yep.
Okay, so that means our cost goes basically, because we have a consultant, our cost goes to zero because we already have a consultant installed. So we will receive the $250 compensation for the process. You'll be compensated for your work. And we won't have the burden. That'll give our CED director and the zoning board more opportunity to deliberate as opposed to putting it together.
exactly.
Sure.
The only change I would say is that you still are going to have the cost of doing the public hearing notices.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, making the room available for the meeting. So you'd have some overhead costs, but that would be covered by the $250.
Yeah, cost of being in the building. So that
Exactly.
minimizes. So
Yep.
it's overhead that's already been.
Frees up
allocated.
your personnel costs, to your point, for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
We're running newspaper ads now.
Okay.
So that's, I'm not sure what that $150 is covering now. Because we're running fairly expensive ads in the newspaper. So we're probably spending more than that. We're not paying for staff, not paying for anything. One of the things about fees is fees come back to council, you have to have a public hearing on all of that, you have to adopt those fees. You know, so you can't just, you know, that's probably why we haven't had it done, because nobody's, you know, you haven't really had a lot of capacity in that part. Those fees usually get adopted at budget time. But that's just, you know, you're almost starting from scratch. One of the big problems we have in the department is that minutes are not being properly taken, they're not being filed at the clerk, agendas for meetings. I mean, there's some basic housekeeping problems that the city has in running all of the functions in that department. I imagine years ago, there's probably 10 people.
So they're gonna do all of it.
They're gonna have to come in and decide. Their original proposal was to come in and do a lot. But you still have to do the director of the department. He still has an assistant. And then you have selling property downstairs and then safety. That's why I'm saying there's probably some really sitting down and restructuring in that department that probably happened if you were to hire a planning consultant to come in. This is a lot like what it was like back before the city hired Metro. Love or hate them, before they came, we didn't have water.
Right.
We had a couple meter readers, and remember, they couldn't get the bills out. They couldn't get the bills out because the woman who did that had retired. And so I'm not saying that the planning department is a lot like that, but they really don't have the technical capacity. Back in the day, city had civil servants. Civil servants never left. so they don't have it. So this is really an opportunity for you to kind of get the park, kind of rebuild. And maybe they can do it in a year, maybe they can't. And that's what the state is. But you really gotta come and start from scratch.
If you took over, if they took over, or you took over Safeville Park, say we said, okay, we're gonna let McKenna do that. Is that an extra cost or that built in already?
So that's an option for you to consider. And again, the cost of our service would be covered by the revenue generated by the building department, the form and the permits that are pulled for inspections and building permits. So again, we get a portion of that, you get a portion of that.
Question.
But, oh, yep.
And we, after Mr. Al-Shafi, we're gonna wrap it up. We gotta move into the other one, so I'm gonna let you have the last word on this.
Okay, does anybody know exactly, because I hear safe building, and when I hear it, I'm thinking about money that can be saved and pushed and put back into the system. So does anybody know what we are currently paying safe?
Safe buildings a performance contract.
Okay.
We don't pay Safe Build anything, they pay us.
Okay.
So what they do is they go out, they do inspection, they charge X amount, they keep 80%, we get 20%.
Okay.
So that's what they mean by a performance.
Okay, okay,
So it'd
The
be the
city's
same
not
type.
paying them any.
okay, perfect, okay.
It'd be the same type of plan and servicing.
Okay, so.
All right, well, to close out, I'm gonna ask this final question. Is the capacity there to have a person in the car out in the city in the same way that Safe Build is?
If we were to take on the building department services, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm gonna thank you for that, and I will hope that you would come back. We're going on recess for August, so
Okay.
we have one meeting next month. If there are additional questions, if members would field those questions to me via email or either to Director Clyburn, if there's more that needs to be done. This is a healthy packet. We can go through and read it. And most of our questions will probably be answered. But if there's anything that's outstanding, we'll leave it to Director Clyburn to get back to us and come.
Just a suggestion, if you don't mind, if you could send them to you and then you reach out so I can answer.
I can do
everything.
that. I can do that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for
Thank you
visiting us,
very
sir.
much. Appreciate your
All
time.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna move on to the second item, that is HPHC redevelopment draft pilot ordinance discussion. This has come before us before, and I believe Director Clyburn will talk to us about some of the updates that he has added.
All right. So we're before you again. We have the team here. I'm gonna call them up if you don't mind, but one of the major things is the duration, and that has been changed. Even in the new packet, it says 20 and 20. That's removed, it's just 20, then they'll have to come back to renew. So it wouldn't be an automatic 40 per the charter, it'll just be the 20. So that was one of the main things that we looked at after the council gave their rebut to the packet. Everything else we are in line with, but the council did have additional questions and concerns, so I'm gonna stand with them to hopefully help answer the rest of the questions.
So members of council, the floor is open on this particular issue. If there was anything else that you want to have addressed, we have about 15 minutes so we can dig in. This is our third, Mr. Vance, it's your third time with us, right?
Third workshop and then one meeting.
Third workshop. Okay, you're becoming a regular. We're gonna start to charge you rent to hang out with us. So the floor is yours,
Okay.
gentlemen.
Mr. Clyburn?
Yes.
Who all participated in the writing? This is a very, very interesting.
The state of Michigan.
State of Michigan. So we did, take out the 50-year piece, right?
Correct.
Because, yeah, I don't think that our charter allows us to do that.
No, it doesn't. 20 years.
Still.
So I just want to be clear. Your name is what, after HPAC?
What's the title of it?
Shall be known as the City of Highland Park Tax District Ordinance dash HPAC
Right, when pilots are adopted, that's what they're named after. Not in front of me, but I can, yes.
Additional questions?
The pilots are, for those properties that's under the pilot, so.
They can get started. I think it was show us.
Yes, I'd like to see those maps myself.
So you've seen this map, Laura, this is a map that as it shows our properties. 2 forms.
This shares 3 key points after several discussions with the to be demolished, to be sold, and active. Active means staying in place, doing the rehabilitation in full. So this here is the outline of the municipality, sharing the addresses, recognizing that the old school Highland Park housing homes, they are currently being demolished right now. At the appropriate permits for 12 of the homes right now are physically being demolished. Okay. We have been asked by the council that the Highland Park Housing Commission has established nonprofits in conjunction with the HUD participation commission approval. That's the partnership with MHT is to restructure the housing commission to put back in place the housing commission with the housing commissioners being appointed again by the city commission, the city council, mayor, to your liking, not mine, to recognize that the redevelopment cash flow, the development fee for the Highland Park Housing Commission is going to be $1.5 million along with annual cash flow to the Housing Commission. The redevelopment has gone to the MSHDA board approval. By taking the state pilots that was initially given to you, the state has now said, okay, you can have a 20-year term mortgage with a 40-year amortization. So it's not the full term of the mortgage. So in 20 years, we'll have to go back, get a new mortgage, and come back at that same appropriate time. The redevelopment will include a construction budget of $70,000 per unit, separate from the $9 million that we are currently spending now, but an additional $8 million of cost being reinvested back into the Highland Park Housing Commission. Coincidentally, we have a 20-year pro forma for the replacement reserves. So all units are appropriately turned, monitored by Team MSHDA and the investor. And obviously, the Highland Park Building Department will be a big participant in all that. The 38 units between demolition and sale, that will be then brought back to you through McKenna and Associates for new location, new zoning, new setbacks, to work in partnership with the city in full for the redevelopment. So what was demoed, what was sold to fair market price will be then reinvested back into the city. So the city does not lose any affordable housing stock. All right. The redevelopment will support the demolition of the 12 units. That's part of the 36 right here. Please also recognize the Highland Park Housing Commission has never paid taxes. We are looking at approximately $89,000 per year with an escalation of, inflation. Who knows where that's going to go? But we recognize as we get more in subsidy, there's more in revenue. Please recognize the average household median income of every resident is at or below $14,500. for families and seniors who live with us. They will not have any rental increase, okay? That this is staying affordable perpetuity, all right?
Mr. Vance, excuse me for interrupting too. That amount, we had a discussion at the previous meeting based on national AMI, that $14,000. Would you share with the audience where that puts us?
That puts us below the 30th percentile annual median income
Right.
of Wayne County.
Thank you. So thank you for that. I wanted to draw the point that in the last meeting, we had a discussion about where our citizens fall. I know individually, some of us fall at a different place, but Highland Park is the second or third poorest city in the state of Michigan per capita because of that AMI stands for area median income. So when you average everyone in, all those people on the gravy train that are making over six figures with the rest of the population, the median for all these 9,000 people that live here is somewhere between $14,000 and $16,000 a year. So our decision-making, our policy needs to reflect looking at our major population percentage, which is severely low income. That would be an adequate description of it, because the median income in the United States of America is somewhere between $54,000 and $57,000 a year. So
The question was for how long? 45 years. And then we'll be coming back at a later time to recycle, resyndicate, similar to what I'm getting ready to do at Highland Manor and Gabrielle. We're getting ready to do the same similarity there to reinvest same back into those facilities as we built and have owned since the early 80s, to do same as Highland Park for an additional 45 years with the same incomes. So friends, we have again the complete Attorney General Office approval, the MISTA approval, and we're recognizing that we have already started an existing $8 million approval with an additional $8+ million approval. Young lady, your hand is up.
go right ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I was being coordinated for 2 years from City Hall Park down to 10 years. Majority of third home, whatever you call it, initially. And we have some people, families that's living in scattered houses that I don't know if they were promised in writing or verbally that they could eventually purchase the house that they live in. So I don't know if we still have those folks, families in those houses, and will maybe afforded the opportunity to purchase those houses and remain after we vote.
I'm going to turn that over to Ms. Flood.
And so can I get that right?
It is in writing and we can give it to you in the relocation plan for the MISTA transaction and HUD transaction. There are 4 families remaining in the single family home. They have the right to relocation benefits that are incentive, and they have the right to purchase the home if they're eligible and qualified to purchase the home. They will go through whatever is necessary. There's part of the program is that we may be able to, we meaning the development might be able to help with a small amount, but we would introduce them to the first-time homebuyer program. We would introduce them to the city of Detroit's lending programs that work with low-income families. They have to qualify. The houses will be on the market for fair market value. All of the houses have been appraised. When HUD gives us approval to put those up for sale, we will notify current residents first, and then we will notify the citizens of Highland Park. So that if they qualify, they're on. But there are only 4 families currently living in the single family home.
Already, we've done a lot of relocation.
I'll check my notes from last meeting because something that you did. So I'm going to check my notes.
All right, I will email you the relocation plan this evening. Yes.
Okay.
One last question for me
Can we
is
get
that,
your email address if you could write it down for us? That would be great.
So how much are you being paid per year?
We're not being paid. We receive subsidy and the families pay 30% of their adjusted income to live in the unit. So the units will go into, eventually the units will go into voucher programs. And the owners will receive what's known as voucher payment standard or fair market rent. The family will pay their 30% and the government will pay the balance. Right now, no, right now, right now they receive, they pay 30% and the Highland Park Housing Commission receives what's known as operating subsidy at 85% of the prorated national rate for the units. HUD has decided that the Highland Park Housing Commission can't continue based upon the level of money that HUD can make available. That's why they asked for development. Because the money we get from HUD is very little.
So two things. One, we asked for, is it possible to have somebody, commissioner come in to explain their part, or if something's a disconnect somewhere. I'm not sure if there's a disconnect for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but there's a small disconnect there. Because we've been here 3 times, plus that at one time. Has anybody else that's supposed to be collaborating with you come to the table with the workshop? We mentioned it twice about mission. No problem. The other thing is, how many units again? How many units is it?
160 units are in the development out of 190. But
The other ones are
demo, right? Also, and so NISTA is an investment partner. NISTA is the entity that provides the local tax credit. They're not really in the transaction other than being an investment partner and providing this guidance. The two parties are Highland Park Housing Commission, which I'm the executive director, and MHC. We are establishing a nonprofit to move forward, and MISHDA has given us approval for low-income tax credits to support the finance.
My other question every time is, who's on housing?
I am the executive director for the Housing Commission. And the board, I report to HUD. HUD, there's one chair on the board, his name is Nick White. Prior to Nick White was on board. There is no other member to the Housing Commission because HUD took the Housing Commission over. The Housing Commission is in what's known as HUD receivership. And in that receivership, it's due to past performance, HUD became the board. And they contacted contracted Continental Management to identify management staff and an executive director. I'm the executive director. I report to the board. I'll be the secretary for the nonprofit for as long as the nonprofit exists. And I secure the financial solvency and security in the Highland Park Housing Commission. The Highland Park Housing Commission isn't going away. It's there. It's just governed differently than you've ever had it governed before because there's no board and chair and 5 members. HUD is the board. HUD is the recovery agent, and the executive director reports to the board.
That's where my disconnect is, because I thought
I think-
we're done with it. Yeah, no more.
No, when this
We
transaction is
got it.
completed, when the transaction is completed, HUD expects to leave because they believe that the future of the Highland Park Housing Commission will be in good standing. It will be redeveloped. It will have stronger financial entities and securities in place.
And then it'll turn the control back over to the Highland Park Housing Commission.
Let me jump in here for a second.
I can say one quick question. How long is the?
We're at the time.
So that it's gonna demo and recap, how long is that gonna take?
Thank you. The existing 160 homes, apartments, those will all be completed over a 9-month period. We've already gotten a big head start over the past 6 months. And then at time of closing on this transaction in early September, subject to the pilot approval, because we recognize you are out of recess in the month of August. We're trying to get the pilot approval to then close and start on the reconstruction of the apartments. At that time, I'm expecting to come to you in September, early October with some proposed locations to build the new units. And so with that, then we have to start working with the city officials on location. We have to work with the city on design. We have to start working with the city on, do we want townhomes like what we have at Benjamin Manor? Do we want to do something like what we have at Highland Manor? What do we want to do? So there's new collaboration after this transaction,
And that's for the 38. That's
Okay.
not the-
minimum of 38 new units.
Downs Manor.
Downs Manor is the 160. Downs Manor is staying intact. A property on Toledo is staying intact. I mean, the inside is being redesigned and redeveloped.
And that's gonna take time.
That's
Yes,
the
ma'am.
9-month period, the 9-month period. And the residents are staying in place and we're working with the residents. They've already seen a model unit for the Downs Manor that then goes to a building on Tuxedo, 257 Tuxedo, building on Trumbull, a building on Hamilton, townhomes on Hamilton, on West Grand and East Grand.
And this is
That equals
also
160.
Davis-Bacon prevailing wage with the appropriate EEO, all certified by the state.
Okay, we're at our time, and let me just say this to my fellow city council members. This is a common practice, and we will have you back as many times as we need to, because in order to sit down to get to the closing table, it can take 24 months on some development deal. So having them come back, the more times that they come back, the more information that is rolled out. Every time they meet with all the parties involved, there is a process of bringing information forward, distributing it, and having conversations about what we uncover in each of those meetings. So I think we should prepare ourselves to do that until this process is finished, and that they should be welcome back as often as they can accommodate us. The other thing that I want to make sure that we point out is our previous housing commission and its leadership drew the attention of HUD to the point where they had to come in and exhibit punitive action on the city of Highland Park in order to create this structure now where we have an executive director that handles all of these functions. We at that, whoever was responsible, whoever was involved, whatever activities that they took drew the ire of HUD to the point where they had to be restructured in the way that it is right now. And we're fortunate to have custodians who have been able to shepherd our assets here and who are willing to work with us on projects like that. And we want to thank you both for coming. We look forward to seeing you again. I want to just tip my hat to you on the
Thank you.
on the poster boards. I still do that sometimes myself, depending on what project I'm working on, because it's actually useful depending on the audience. So thank you both for coming again. We hope to see you in the future. You have the contact information for all of the members of City Council. I urge you all to contact our partners here and have conversations with them offline. And I'm pretty sure that they will share with you in a private meeting everything that they're sharing with us now in a public meeting, so that you can ask your questions at length. And we would love to see you again. We look forward to seeing you at the next meeting, and thank you so much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is 6:58. We'll go out and close out the workshop today. We'll thank you all for coming to join us here for this business workshop, and we look forward to hearing your comments in the public meeting. Thank you very much. It is 6:58, Madam Clerk, and we will call the meeting adjourned.
Apologize for not taking.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I was juggling too. That comedian from Ann Arbor, my only time to get on the phone.
Thank you.
That one I can't ride. That one I can't.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but,
I guess you're not.
exactly. You are now. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I know.
I was still the same. What's the song about? And you're still the same. Oh, still the same. No, ain't nothing changed.
That's right.
No, I have contract with the city.
Yeah, I know.
And contract, you know how I am. When I'm gone, I will let y'all know. Ain't no rumor. Ain't no weird days here. You know, I let my handle my business with me.
That's right. That's right.
When that time is right, I will stand up and tell you, don't listen to no rumors about me.
So you know, for the closed session, we need four, right?
Yeah, maybe, maybe not. You know how it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, actually, the, I couldn't talk about the litigation update.
A
So
decade.
I can do the command.
I'll do it after. You got a minute, just before we leave. Yeah. Got something I want to show you.
It is stifling.
You have to take this.
They had to be.
That way it's actually visible.
Oh, shit.
You have to take it. You gotta take it. It's for your parking meter.
I appreciate it.
Okay, it's gotta
I saw
play
the
by the
call.
rules.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, we're 7:02. Ms. Manica? I'm waiting for the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:02 PM. It is my pleasure to call to order the Highland Park in-person and virtual regular meeting for City Council scheduled for Monday, July 15th, 2024 at 7 PM. And I'm going to read this mission statement. The mission of the Highland Park City Council is to implement the city charter and to make legislative decisions that provide for good government, public peace, health, safety, and prosperity for the city. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilperson Robinson. Councilwoman Manica. Here. Councilwoman Martin. Councilman Ashafi.
Present.
Council President Thomas.
Here, thank you very much. Moving on to item 3, the approval of the agenda. Members of council, you had an opportunity to see the agenda. I will raise your attention to an email that was provided to us from Mr. Burgess for item 6. We were told that item 6 is not ready. And he would like to have that item removed. So that leaves us with the minutes, the resolution to convene a closed session, the resolution to approve the collective bargaining agreement, and citizens' participation. On the matter of the agenda, City Council, what is your pleasure?
I move to approve the agenda with the deletion of Department of Public Works,
Second.
6, resolution to solicit.
So we have a motion on the floor made by Councilwoman Manica for the approval of the agenda pending the removal of item 6 in the Department of Public Works as a resolution to solicit quotes to cut grass on the 1,470 city-owned properties. That motion was supported by Councilman Al Shafi. Do we have questions, concerns, or dissent? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on the approval of the agenda?
Councilperson Robinson. Yes. Councilwoman Manica.
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi.
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to item 4, the approval of the proposed minutes for the virtual and in-person workshop for July 1st, 2024. City Council, what is your pleasure?
I move to approve the proposed minutes of the virtual and in-person workshop meeting July 1st, 2024.
Support with questions.
We have a motion on the floor for the approval of the minutes from Councilwoman Manica. That support comes from Councilman Ashafi. The motion is on the floor. Mr. Ashafi, what are your questions, sir?
Okay, my question, here on, and this is the workshop, we're looking at, right?
Correct.
Okay, so, it says here that, says here that the meeting was adjourned. It was moved by Manica and supported by you. Okay, if my memory serves me right, sir, you closed that meeting out without any support from anybody.
You are correct.
So that needs to be correct.
So that will be Mrs. Manica, your motion to approve these minutes. Mr. Ashafi has pointed out. So would you like to remake that motion with the correction?
Can you give me that correction again? I'm sorry.
Yes, it says here at the bottom of these minutes, it says here, under adjournment, it says it was moved by Manica and supported by council president, and that is simply not true. It was just closed out by the council president.
That is correct.
So my new motion is I move to approve. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I move to approve the proposed minutes of the virtual in-person workshop meeting July 1st, 2024, with the amended section under adjournment to not read.
The removal of that?
Just removing.
Yes, ma'am. So the motion is on the floor, is made by Councilwoman Manica. Mr. Ashafi, do you still offer your support for that new motion?
I do offer my support to, for that correction.
We have a motion to approve the proposed virtual and in-person workshop meetings with the correction of the removal of the adjournment notation. The meeting was adjourned by Council President. Let the record show that Ms. Martin has joined us here for the meeting at 7:07 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on the approval of the virtual and in-person workshop meeting for July 1st?
Council President Robinson. Yes. Councilwoman Manica.
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Shafi.
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to under item 4, again, it's the approval of the proposed minutes for the virtual and in-person regular meeting for July 1st. City Council, what is your pleasure?
Make the motion to approve.
We have a motion on the floor from Council Pro Tem Robinson. Chair offers support for the approval of the meeting for the virtual and in-person regular meeting.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Council President Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica.
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Shafi.
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a section of all of our meetings where we turn the floor over to the mayor by City Mayor McDonald so that she may address council during our regular session. Madam Mayor, are you available online?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, council. Good afternoon, citizens of Highland Park. I first want to address a very present issue that's going on in the city, and that is the burglary break-ins that's happening. I want everyone to be very diligent. And if you see something, please report it to the police department. Calling me or putting it on Facebook is only delaying the process of the police getting there to try to catch this person. So please, if you see somebody that, regardless, if they are not somebody you know in your neighborhood, if it's somebody in the alleys that looks suspicious, or maybe not, it don't hurt. But if you call me, that means I got to try to figure out to call the police. Police, by that time, we've wasted 2 minutes and they could be gone. So please, everyone, look out for your neighbors. These things are happening during the day. The chief I've spoke to, and they're staking out areas, but let them know immediately if you see something that's not right or you think's not right. And so that we can get this person off the streets. They're not only here in Highland Park, they're in Detroit. So we're working together to try to make sure that these people that's breaking into these houses is taken off the street as quickly as possible. But going to Facebook, going to concerned citizens, say, hey, can somebody put this on there? Send it to the police immediately. Also, I want to thank Farron Park for finishing up their and organizing their block club. They had a very good turnout yesterday for all 3 blocks of Farron Park. Citizens are trying to unite to make sure that they are watching and keeping their blocks clean. I want to send a special shout out to Mary Waters, Councilwoman Mary Waters at large from Detroit, who is running for Congress, and also Miss Tanya Myers Phillips, who came out Saturday and walked with me and a couple of citizens through the neighborhoods to look at some of the things that we need help with. We were in the 3rd district between Picken and Puritan. And so they did come out, they talked to some citizens. We're looking at all of the areas to see what we can do. And the first thing that she did say is, you guys need help with community and economic development. And yes, we do. So also thank you to those people who continuously let me know about things that they see in the city and sending me a message so that I can get help for it. I'm only one person, so I can't be out there all the time. I'm out on Saturdays and Sundays riding through the neighborhood. So if you can please be patient with us and try to help us. If you see something again, dumping, if you see someone dumping, don't hesitate to call the police. The police can come and they can catch them in the act. And then that way they can make them get that up and ticket them or charge them with dumping. That's all I have today, Council President. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, ma'am. At this time, we turn the floor over to citizens for 2 minutes to offer comments on the agenda. Today, we only have 2 items. One of them is a closed session, of which I imagine there are going to be little to no comments. If there are, we welcome those. The other is the resolution to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the city and HP Command Officers Union. So if you give me just a minute, I'm going to keep it straight to 2 minutes. And I will not start the clock until you start talking.
Good evening, Council. I'm Lisa Stolarski, 3rd District. I am interested in the closed session this evening. I'm wondering if Council will be able to come out of the closed session, letting us know who is counsel for the city and who is counsel for the police department in the negotiation. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Additional citizens would like to be heard? On agenda items, under item 5, we have 2. Go ahead, ma'am, please.
Yes, you said, is this I can only speak on agenda items?
Oh, yeah, only on the agenda items. We'll have open at the end.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Make sure you come back at the end. Additional citizens that would like to speak on the 2 agenda items that we have for this evening. Okay, so we're going to move on to item 5 right now. That is under the legal department, a resolution to convene in a closed session to discuss the union contract strategy and negotiations of the pending litigations that the city is currently facing right now. I'm going to turn it over to City Council. We need a motion to convene a closed session.
I move to convene into closed session to discuss union contract strategy and negotiation pending litigation.
Support.
I'm sorry.
He says support.
Yeah, the motion has to be to recess into closed session, Ms. Manica.
I'll repeat it. I move for us to recess into closed session to discuss union contract strategy and negotiation and pending litigation.
We have a motion on the floor to move into closed session from Councilwoman Manica, supported by Councilman Ashafi. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Council Pro Tim Robinson. Yes. Councilwoman Manica.
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Patton.
Yes, for closed session.
Council President.
Yes, motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we will convene in a closed session until we finish our deliberation, at which time we will rejoin you here on the floor. We thank you for your patience. Sorry. Call the time at 7:15.
Don't go. Don't go. You ain't gotta worry about it. I seen her the other day. I think you out leaving and you was coming in. Right. You. Yeah. What's it on? And I couldn't swim, so like, the name. I made a video. What in your mind? Cause it's cause I made sure, I'm like, hey. It makes a lot of sense. You got an air conditioner on and the window is up. That makes plenty of sense. I'm really trying to get a flow. Okay.
Yeah, that was bad for him. Yeah, nothing. You better just sit right up here.
I got something.
There's other companies.
And where you buy? Okay, is this?
There's a blower. Yeah, I had one. Yeah. I had one. They're pretty good. It's like the one that you buy for a pound. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
okay,
Exactly.
okay. I know.
I used to just use it for my building, like you stand, yeah. Yes, something else, man. I can't. They have to be extremely hot.
Does it?
Live down the south, huh? Yeah, it's hot.
Wow, it's in your ear? Oh, you didn't put no air.
My grandma.
I didn't go outside until the daytime, I went out at night.
Yeah, it's a night.
What I didn't like, going to Texas is I ain't got to be out this big. And
They
they
glide down to the
They glide
ground. Yeah, it's real high. But in Germany, they're the same way.
Oh, I
Except the bigger got a little tail.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah, they
They
glide
got
down to the ground.
I didn't know they had it in Florida, because I never seen it in Florida. But it is.
They got some Florida.
Hey, how you doing? When I was there,
Yeah. Yeah, they got small black, Americana. Yeah. They got a bunch of them. You know, people would get them pets. And then once they grow up, they never want to enjoy it. Yeah, they enjoy it. Yeah. They don't walk on grass and stuff. No, you have to be a nature person.
Nice.
I am in Michigan.
You know, I wanted to go to the South.
Yeah.
You know, issue. I want to have air on, but to walk outside. You know, the side bare to the bone and it's hurting. I want
You go outside and inside the night, okay?
That's why you stay in
It's
that.
over there, very cool.
Yeah.
Remember the pipeline that got in this house? Which is over on 4th Street? Yeah. Remember the little white lady, she had a bunch of little dogs?
And she was on this street.
On 4th. Here, between Hamilton and Third.
Did she live near the lights?
She lives on the,
No, the white lived on that.
she lives on the north side.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Her sister's name is Pat. They live on.
You knew secondhand when you was working.
Better know who you better know who you are. No, I
Let me open up the wire.
Oh, no. Oh. That's what I'm saying.
Cousin of yours had it. Air conditioner is over there. They got the stadium, they buy barbecue cross. So you get that five view on the side. Yeah. They climb straight up the side.
They walk up the building like they're walking down the side. So, Sean.
I just I didn't see not one road before. Nothing.
Yeah.
So two ways leave tomorrow.
I used to go around 10. And see if you look down around 10. You'll see.
I was down there, I was down, Mardi Gras, Bourbon Street. I didn't go down there in February, I did go to Florida to that conference there, and they. Oh my God.
Call Calamari.
Oh, Calamari is. Yeah, but now we had some alligator bites in New Orleans. Oh my God, they ate my chicken, and it was like bites. Well, let me say this, rabbits got the game taste. You know it's different from chicken. When I tell you to taste alligator, there's no game, no nothing. That's what he said. So how do you get the game take down this? You mean, if you kill it and you have to process it right. In order to take
I never been to crazy like you.
That's why we do like a song, even if we have like.
It's 5 more feet.
Oh, yeah, I'll get up.
And it's like that.
So, crab.
Yeah. I went down south of North, like a whole.
I did not know. Oh my God, that was nice.
We brought back a lot of them. When you fried them all up.
Soft shell crab. Okay.
Did you go to any of the fish farms?
Leave me alone. Well, that catfish down south, if you go, like, get not off the farm. Ones that catch out in the water, yeah, river, okay. And that catfish there, man. Ooh, we can stand up and say something to somebody. It won't be nothing nice, just a plate. Yeah, the season, you know, you end up with high blood pressure. That's what I heard.
Does it just mean greasy? I don't know. It was very long. That's what I. And I love my fish. And they found like. So the fish will come and swim.
It is 7:33. The chair will entertain a motion, to reconvene the regular scheduled meeting.
I move to reconvene into the regular scheduled meeting.
Second. Motion is made to reconvene the regular scheduled meeting made by Councilwoman Manica, supported by Councilman Ashafi. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We are now back in the regular session of the meeting. There was a request made during public comment to address a summary of what we discussed in the closed session. We have Council John Clark here, if he would.
No, I was going to give a summary of the collective bargaining agreement.
I'm sorry, collective bargaining agreement, excuse me for that. So we're moving on to item 5B. That's a resolution to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the city and the HP Command Officers Union Teamsters Local 214. City Council, what is your pleasure on this item?
Move to approve resolution. Move to approve the resolution to approve collective bargaining agreement between the city of Highland Park and the Highland Park Command Officers Union, Teamsters Local 242.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion for the approval of item 5B. That's a resolution to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Highland Park and HP Command Officers Trade Union Teamsters Local 214, made by Councilwoman Manica. The chair will offer support. Do we have question, concerns, and or dissent?
Would you like me to give a summary?
I would, sir, if you would be so kind.
Thank you. So good evening, members of the public. So after some lengthy contract negotiations with the the Command Police Unit, we were able to reach a new tentative collective bargaining agreement that will be in place, if approved, through June 30 of 2026. This involves a handful of important changes, most notably We're going to increase the hourly wage of the sergeants from $32.77 to $37.75. And the sergeants will go from $35.39 to $45.50. Now, keep in mind, this contract has been expired since 2021. They did receive a raise, a nominal raise, when the city received money through the American Rescue Plan, ARPA, a couple of years ago. But even with these increases, we're still probably behind the eight ball. There is no retro pay. And we're only talking about, I think, 4 members of the union. So this is not a big group.
John, you said sergeant twice. It was lieutenants and sergeant.
I'm sorry. Yeah, lieutenants are going from $35.39 to $40.50. Sergeants are going from $32.77 to $37.75. And again, they have not received a raise in a few years. There's no retro pay. And we did some other cleanup issues, but there are really no other significant changes to the contract except for wages. And we did give them a couple extra holidays, and we gave them some more sick time in their sick banks that they can use. So I'd be happy to answer any questions from council. Otherwise, the council would be at its decision to take a vote.
Yeah, so other than this item, the only thing I have a problem with is the signing bonus, but you explained that well in closed session as to why it's like that.
Yeah, so because they're not receiving retro pay, which for 3 years would be, I think, fairly substantial, because when you talk about retro pay, it's not just your base rate of pay, it would also factor into any overtime that you worked, any sick time that you cashed in, any vacation time, any holiday pay, the city's contributions to any pensions. All that would be impacted by a retroactive agreement. Okay, so that would be probably tens of thousands of dollars when you're talking about all those individuals. What we've done is we're going to agree to, again, with council's blessing, give each one of them $1,000 check, which will be taxable. And that money does not affect their base wage. It does not affect any of their benefits. It's simply a check, in essence, to replace or to supplant their agreement to give up retro pay. Plus retro pay, it's very time consuming to calculate that. As you can imagine, going back 3 years for every single command officer, every hour they worked, every overtime they worked, every time they took a sick day. Eleanor and her staff would probably take them 30 days to get all that figured out. She won't have to do any of that. We simply cut them a check.
I see your hand, Madam Pro Tem. Go right ahead.
Can we get a list of the union and non-union officers?
I don't have them up. I mean, the chief McMahon is here. Maybe he can address that. They're all union. We have a patrol union and a command union, but they're all members of, well, 2 different unions.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean, you're saying union and non-union.
That pay dues.
Okay.
And non-union that don't pay dues.
So we're talking about 2 collective bargaining agreements here.
Right.
So you would like a list of all the members in this bargaining group? Okay. Yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, we can provide you with that. It's not something I would do publicly because then that would give us staffing levels, and I don't want to do that. So, yep.
Seeing no questions, Madam Clerk, I'll call for the roll on item 5B. It's a resolution to approve the collective bargaining agreement.
Council Pro Tem Robinson. I'm sorry.
You doing B first?
We finished A. A was just go to closed session. She called for the roll, ma'am. Madam Clerk, could you recommence the process, please?
Council Pro Tem Robinson for item 5B. Seeing no.
Yes.
Yeah, you saying the air conditioning is on, so I can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you very much. That brings us to the
And also
end.
the clerk, please.
This is for your record. That brings us to the end of our regular session scheduled meeting. We're going to open the floor for citizens' participation. I'll set it for 2 minutes. And the floor, once you come to the podium, once you introduce yourself, we'll start the clock. How are you, sir?
Good. Hi there. I'm Shannon Bryce. I just wanted to make a quick announcement. Hi, everybody, too, by the way. It's been a minute since I've been here. Just been busy. See everybody. We're going to be doing a community park cleanup on Saturday at the MLK Park. I just want to put the word out there from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
See you there.
We'll have a dumpster in. Yes, I'm on the guy to fix that for us too. I can't think of any other details to add to that. Anyone who can make it, thanks in advance. We're just gonna be clearing out an alleyway that's been dumped in, cutting some brush. So anything that anyone can bring that could help achieve that easier could be beneficial, helpful. Shannon. Yeah, Shannon Bryce. It's going to be Saturday, the 20th, this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Could you have Danny text me so I can bring my chainsaw?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal.
Additional citizens?
Hello again, City Council. I would like to ask you if you could now tell us who represented the police in this negotiation and who represented the city of Highland Park in the negotiation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Tammy Stafford, resident of Highland Park. I have several questions and I know we don't have that much time, so I'm just going to say the names of the questions that I would like the questions to go to. So the first question is to Charmaine. Could you please look into the grant situation? Because a lot of the seniors that names were pulled for grants, either they don't know why they was denied or disqualified. Manica, could you please find out when the meters are going to be installed for the Highland Park residents?
The water meters?
Yes, ma'am. And President Thomas.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody say? Oh, I thought somebody said something.
Go right ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Manica, as far as the company that was here, that the gentleman that you took out in the hallway is, yes, were they, I'm not understanding, did they want some kind of agreement for not paying taxes for 30 years or what was that all about?
They want a tax exemption.
Okay. At the next meeting, could you explain that to the public a little bit more? Because a lot of people are confused, the residents of Highland Park. And Charmaine, can you please get in touch with Mr. Clybourne and find out why, like, the residents of Highland Park, especially the seniors, they collaborate a lot verbally, and they're finding out that good houses on their blocks are being torn down that really don't need to be torn down. And so we just trying to find out, like, once they are torn down, what are they doing with the lots? And Krishid, could you please implement, like in your workshops, that each member of council gets maybe like, what is it called, bylaws? Okay, can each member of the council get like maybe 2 bylaws, per meeting? And let us know how the residents of Highland Park know how they're, being rewritten, so we can understand, we can start somewhere. And also, Rashid, can you please refer me to someone that can fill the potholes on the 3rd block of Farron Park? Because the 2nd block was done, and then they went around to the 1st block on Buena Vista, and that was done, but my block was not done. And I also want to thank you for when we had the blackout, for what you did. I thank you, appreciate it. And Martin, Miss Martin, I'm happy to see that you're okay, and I'm glad that you're back to work. And
Okay,
that's
and
all I
that-
have. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, one more question, please, 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 right quick. Okay, I went to pay on my property tax, and I looked at the bottom of the tax form, and it didn't have the balance on which I owe. So I asked the gentleman at the window, and he said it would be on my next bill. I never had that happen to me before, and I want to know why that happened. And yeah,
Okay, I'll check into that.
thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Would you state your name for the record before you get started?
Donald Taylor.
Thank you, sir.
I done lived in Highland Park 65 years. I live on California down there. When you guys sell a house in the water bank to whatever, you guys need to give them some kind of a time limit to clean them up. The house I live next to, the guy bought it 8 years ago. And just because they started giving him tickets, now he wants to clean it up and keep the house and telling the other neighbors, I'm gonna do this to the house, I'm gonna do that to the house. The house is, you tearing down better houses than this house.
Tell me your block again, sir.
165 California. The house next to mine is 171. His house is down there that shouldn't even been tore down there. I mean, you guys sold Thompson School, trees are still growing around them. It's an eyesore. The house next to me literally had 10 feet of trees. And all they did was clean them up and put them near the pole. So now if somebody walks down there and throw a bush over and a match over in the trees he put down there, it's literally gonna burn down the pole, and I'm not gonna have electricity. Nobody on our block is gonna have electricity. It should be a time limit. I shouldn't have to live like that.
Okay, Mr. Taylor, that's under administration. I believe the mayor is still on the call, so she typically takes notes from these calls. I see her hand is up, so I'll get to you afterwards, Madam Mayor. All right, so Mr. Taylor, thank you so much, sir. Please join us again at another meeting as well.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir. Well, just 1 second. Let me reset the time. I want to be consistent with this. Go right ahead.
All right. My name is Shantanu Paul. I'm a resident on McLean Street. Shantanu Paul. Santonu, and then Paul. Yeah, so I live on McLean, and before that, I used to live on Waverly, on the other side of Woodward. So when I lived on Waverly, I got broken into so many times. I was pretty much forced out, and so I moved to McLean Street, and it's been a lot better ever since. I found out why that side of Woodward is a lot worse than the right side of Woodward, the east side of Woodward. I spoke to a young man in that neighborhood, and he said that there's a methadone and an oxycodone clinic.
Yes, sir.
Called Rainbow Center. And it attracts all the drug dealers from across Metro Detroit because all these heroin addicts and meth addicts converge in that area to get the oxycodone and methadone. But the drug dealers come there because these people are already addicted, so they can sell them drugs. And then as a result, the people in the neighborhood, children, young adults, they all become, I mean, not all, but some of them become addicted to the drugs, and then ends up being a lot more crime, and houses get broken into, and then they end up being abandoned, and all
all this type of stuff that, I think the people of Highland Park don't want. And I was, trying to maybe talk to you guys, see if there's any type of a solution. That way the kids and people of Highland Park, we have a fighting chance to have a safe neighborhood and a positive neighborhood.
All right, I thank you for your comments, and we appreciate you in our community.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. All right, I have some people online. I didn't see. Yes, sir.
I just have some, thank you very much. Thank you, Council President, Pro Tem, council members, and the city clerk. And yes, you too, Mr. Lawyer. I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. That sign is beautiful. And it's just an ordinary sign, but it's so beautiful. And thank you, Miss Mayor. But you guys have made my summer, man. I mean, the whole summer. Everything else is icing on the cake from this point on. I wanted to thank you guys. And I know you guys are powerful. Ain't no question. I know the power of the city council. I used to cater to them. That was my third job. So I know your power, man. You guys are powerful. You guys work together, can't nothing and nobody get in your way. They can only ask and they get it. Have a great evening, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. All right, I'm going to start to take our citizens that are online right now, starting first with Glenda McDonald. I'm going to hold you to 3 minutes, Ms. McDonald.
It won't take that long, sir. Thank you. I just wanted
All right.
the citizens to know that the houses that are being torn down is not being torn down by the city. You have houses being torn by down by HUD, and you have houses that are being torn down by Wayne County. Highland Park is not tearing down any houses. So just so that we clear, only house we've torn down is the emergency house that fell on someone's house. Other than that, those are being torn down by the county, Wayne County Land Bank, not the county, but Wayne County Land Bank. And the other houses are the houses under the Housing Commission, and they are being torn down. So please note that that is not a Highland Park is not tearing down these houses. And I will call Mr. Taylor shortly to discuss his concerns again about that house. That I don't know if we own that house, but I'll definitely find out. If we own the house. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move into council affairs. Not seeing anyone else approach the podium. We're going to start with the councilman from District 3.
Good evening, everyone. So, last council meeting was a little rough, but I saw something that greatly concerned me. And that was the fact that most of the residents in here on that day pretty much didn't care. $1.8 million overspent. And nobody cared. No explanation for it, no answers. So I have another question for you. How are you all enjoying the increase in your property taxes that just happened? How are you enjoying that? Okay, there's been no improvement in this city.
Right.
No development really in this city. Why did our property taxes go up? Now you asked me to sit here and fight for you, but I can't fight alone. You can't call me over here to fight for you. And then when I get here and start fighting for you, you jump on the other side and you help them kick me in the ribs. It doesn't work that way. Our property taxes have gone up, and I hear dead silence from this city, which I find unacceptable. I'm at a point now where I'm wondering, what am I fighting for? If you're good with it, why should I care? If you don't have a complaint about it, why am I speaking up for it? If you're comfortable with being slapped down, why should I pick you back up? Why should I help? Why should I stand in for you? What's my purpose? If every time I open my mouth, you come against me and tell me that you don't care, what's the purpose of it? I need this city to fight. There's no reason that our property taxes should have went up. And I find it funny that it went up a week after they approved the renewal of Doug Shaw's contract. He's got a lot of balls. He's got a lot. Mind you, I didn't vote to approve his contract. I feel Doug Shaw is a waste of time, space, and energy, and he needs to go. But his contract was renewed. And right after that renewal, you got a property tax increase. So again, I'm gonna need y'all to stand up. I'm gonna need y'all to hold this city to task. Just like you ride my back and make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do, I need you to make sure everybody else is doing what they're supposed to do. No exceptions. No favoritism here. I don't care if they your buddy and your friend. I got very good friends, but if they come to my house and break out my windows, are we gonna have some problems? I'm just not going to shrug it off and be like, oh, that's my friend, so I'm gonna overlook that. Property taxes have gone up for no reason. And if that doesn't piss you off and make you mad, then there's something wrong with this city. And I yield back.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Oh my gosh, I'm back. I'm back. First off, I want to start off saying thank you for a lot of you sent me text messages, called me, or came by and sent me well wishes. I appreciate that so much. Oh my gosh, the accident, you all know I've been in a car accident, right? Okay. So, I remember when it initially happened, at one point it was so serious that I was just fighting to breathe. It was hurting to breathe. I couldn't speak, I couldn't talk, couldn't stand, couldn't walk. I broke my collarbone. They just snapped my arm back in the socket Friday last week. And I broke my ribs, cut my liver, both of them. So I'm happy to be here. It's amazing that I'm here. I can talk, look at you, and live to talk about it. There are some things that I do want to address, though. There are some people who got mad that I was not here. And I want to just say, you guys, I'm more than, and I'm only speaking to the people who feel that way, that I'm more than just a yes or no. I'm bigger than that. I'm bigger than just a vote. My life is bigger than that. My life is more important than that. So I wanted to address just that part. Also, I wanted to say that property taxes increasing. I did want to address that. What happened while I was gone? Why are the property taxes going up? I've gotten a lot of phone calls about that too. What's going on with that? Why are we okay with overspending with the budget? That doesn't even make sense. If you look at the budget at your own house, if you overspend at your own personal finance, that's a problem. So it's a bigger problem when the city's doing it also. Number two, I also wanted to talk about some things that I am creating. One, I'm creating for the seniors August 11th. There's called a Senior Friendship Day. Right now, there will be a bus that will be picking them up on July 30th at the amphitheater at Shane Park. So that's one thing. Another thing I'm creating is for my first fundraiser for the library. I am doing a comedy show at the Woodward Bar and Grill. That will be August 11th. I have to send out flyers. I got a virtual flyer right now. And I would love to send it to all of you. So make sure I get your number so I can send it to you and you guys can invite other people. I'm looking to at least get 200 people, get that donation so we can get this library open. I'm still about that library too. Not here. I know I still haven't been able to go into the library, one due to my accident, but we got a schedule. Carlton Claiborne has agreed to go into the library with me so I can take a look at it and get some picture. I'm still standing and steadfast on that. And on that note, I always tell you guys, thank you for coming out and being here today. And thank you for anybody who showed up on Zoom. And right now I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Manica.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have much today at all. Just happy to see you back, Ms. Martin. I did talk to you for your time out. Again, but you're safe in here. Everybody, stay cool, look out for each other. Make sure you are being observant of your area due to one, the fact of break-ins, but not just that. Just people praying on each other or praying on seniors who are living in homes. And that's pretty much it. Make sure you're taking care of your yard, your landscape, putting things where they're supposed to go, getting out. Everybody have a great night.
Hello, everybody. As you may know, I'm being recalled for residency, but the people that are getting the signatures are misleading the citizens. I've been getting phone calls, I have videos, I have pictures that they're saying that the reason they want the signatures, I walk out of the meeting, and I tell them that it's because someone thinks that I don't live in Highland Park. Someone else called me and told me that they want the signature because I sold money from the city. And that's a lie also. And they're also misleading people. I have a video. I got your phone number. And misleading people and making them think they're signing up for voter registration. I just want to let the people know that the actual petition is to recall me for residency. And they to answer your question, Ms. Tam, I will email Carlton. Well, no, Mayor asked that part about the house people around. And I will look into the grant situation. Burgess did send me a copy of who got what, but I will let him know that the people that got denied or disqualified, you guys come to this Friday why you got disqualified or denied. And meter installation, I think that's right. Okay, and I think that's just about it. And if anybody wants to call me and ask me anything, my phone number is 313-590-0470. All the time.
Okay, thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I was hoping I was going to be able to get through this without fact checking tonight, but I took a bunch of notes, and as the chair of this committee, my job is to make sure that, what does it say on our mission statement? It says, the mission of the Highland Park City Council is to implement the city charter, follow the law, and to make legislative decisions that provide good government, public peace, health, safety, and prosperity for the city. And what I really get sick of, I try and sit in this chair and I pray that I can get through this and not have to come back and fact check. And I don't ever get that opportunity because misinformation and lies come out like wind around here. The screen shows that Michigan property taxes will go up again significantly in 2024 thanks to inflation. This is not Doug Shaw in the assessor's office. That is total BS. Whoever. And anytime somebody comes in here and spews, they want to know why the property taxes are going up. You can read it. It's in Cranes. That is the Detroit News, and that is from March of this year. So when you come in here and you hear that load of BS, that's the state of Michigan. So take it up with the governor. Beyond that, let's get into the facts here. let's get into the facts here. This is a map that I showed earlier this year. This shows the increase in property value provided to us by Mayor Duggan. This was part of his State of the City. This map shows in green and blue the highest increased assessed property value in Detroit. In the center of the city is the city of Highland Park. Our property values have gone up 40 and sometimes 50%. So if the value of your property is higher due to your neighborhood being more desirable to live in because you have historic homes, and your property taxes are assessed based on the value of your home, your house is worth more if you're getting a flat rate of 4 to 5%. Your house is worth $1. Now it's worth $2. What is 4 or 5% of $2 over $1? That's a bunch of BS. That's a bunch of lies. Don't let anybody get you hyped up over a bunch of BS and lies. Fact check these things yourself, okay? And lastly, if people are out spreading misinformation about the recall for Madam Pro Tem, that's dishonest. The truth is there are court documents available. There are documents available from a mediation service to show that at the time of her registration for candidacy, she didn't live in the city of Highland Park. Those are public records. And if the lies persist, I'll come in here and I'll pass those out to show in detail. Okay, okay.
Because if what you're saying is true, then you're calling our clerk.
No. The clerk's job, when I registered as a candidate, I have the actual email that says, Madam Clerk, is it your responsibility to validate our affidavits and our honesty? And the clerk said, that is your responsibility, sir. When you sign on that dotted line, it is your job. It says, I attest that the things that I am saying are in fact true. Okay, I'm short a couple classes in law school. I ain't no lawyer, but I slept in a Holiday Inn last week and I can read. And it says that right on the bottom of the document. Don't call this woman a liar. I can show you the email that I sent her in 2021 asking her for verification. She said, it is not my responsibility to verify your truthfulness, sir. It is your responsibility. There's a line that says, I attest that these facts are true. We're all adults. So you can't put the blame on her. If you lie on your affidavit, you've committed a felony. And like I said before, sitting in this room, those people who committed those felonies, I'm gonna make sure that those felonies are charged against you. It's gonna be my own personal mission. If I have to spend my own time, my own personal money, you're gonna get hit with them felonies. For all the people who filled out their documents correctly and honestly and who were denied a seat, we're gonna hit you with them felonies. Because if somebody can break into your house and commit a crime against you and you want that person prosecuted for committing a crime, if someone can break into this room and climb up on this dais illegally, they should also be held accountable because they are terrorizing this community and they have done so illegally. They're in violation of the state of Michigan law, the Constitution of the United States of America, and the charter of the city of Highland Park. And by God, you will pay if you break the law. It is what it is. Y'all have a wonderful night. Having concluded all business related to the city of Highland Park, the chairman will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you. John, I need you for 5 if you got it.